Hello and good day to everyone. So we are the second group to report, and our topic is all about the evolution of the Philippine Constitution. So what is it all about? So the Philippine Constitution is the evolution of our country, which is the Philippines. So each time it keeps on changing and changing and changing until it fits the needs of our country. So each update reflects on what is happening politically, socially, and economically. The goal is a system that protects the rights of Filipinos and helps the country grow while keeping the government strong and fair. So there are 6 levels of constitution. So the first one is the Malolos Constitution, which is the first constitution of the Philippines. So the Malolos Constitution is a huge steps towards full independence from Spain and showed Filipinos' strong desire to rule themselves. No, as we all know that we are being colonized by the Spaniards for 333 years, but then later on na-acquire or na-achieve na to ang ato independence. So, during that time, our fellow Filipinos tried to create a law para nato Filipinos nga nang natay own nga rules nga dili ang Spaniards ang nag-introduce nato. So, but then wala man to siya fully good na gamit nga laws. Nabuhat to siya. Naay mga nabuhat like nag-elect og mga leaders nga paraan na, but then wala siya fully na use because later on niabot ang American War, nag World War II. Despite this, the Malolos Constitution remains a symbol of the Filipinos' fight for freedom and first try of building a democracy nation. So, mo na siya ang pasabot sa Malolos Constitution. So, to furthermore explain the 6 Constitution, which I already explained the first one, please don't skip the video and listen to the next reporter. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Ms. Estrera. Now let us proceed to the 1935 Commonwealth Constitution. It established a government structures in the Philippines that was modeled after the American system, including a bicameral legislature, an elected president, and independent judiciary. It also included a Bill of Rights guaranteeing fundamental freedoms and protections against government overreach. The Constitution further established 3 independent constitutional commissions: the Civil Service Commission, the Commission on Election, and the Commission on Audit. The main issue of this constitution was the limited sovereignty of the Philippines, as the United States maintained control over important areas such as defense and foreign affairs. This affected society by fueling nationalist sentiments, increasing political awareness, and creating a sense of dependence on the U.S., even as Filipinos began to govern themselves. The solution to this issue was the gradual transition to full independence, initiated by the Tidings-McDuffie Act and achieved through diplomatic efforts, which lead to the official recognition of the Philippine independence on July 4, 1946.
The 1943 Constitution of the Philippines, enacted during the Japanese occupation, had key features, such as unicameral legislature and limited presidential power. However, its legitimacy was compromised due to Japanese control, leading to widespread resistance and distrust among Filipinos. The Constitution's lack of genuine sovereignty was a major issue, serving as a propaganda tool rather than reflecting the people's will. This led to suppression of civil liberties and further fueled guerrilla movements. In conclusion, the 1943 Constitution impact on society was marked by illegitimacy, resistance, and distrust. For solution, a new democratically established constitution was later drafted in 1946, restoring true sovereignty and public trust.
Thank you, Ms. Urbano. So now, let's proceed the 1973 Constitutional Authoritarianism. It enacted during Ferdinand Marcos' presidency. It gives too much power to Ferdinand Marcos, allowing him to control the government and make decisions without checking other branches. It allowed him to declare martial law, which led to shutdown of free speech, press, and political opposition. The way the Constitution was approved was also unfair with no real involvement from the public. As a result, people were afraid to speak out because they feared getting arrested or hurt. Many citizens felt they had no say in the government, which made them lose trust in democracy. There were many human rights abuses, with people being imprisoned or killed for opposing the government. Economic inequality grew as a few people in power became richer, while the rest of the population suffered. These issues led to protests and resistance, which eventually helped bring down Marcos' rule. To prevent similar issues from the 1973 Constitution, we must strengthen democratic institutions, protect human rights, ensure fair election, and support free speech, promoting transparency, fighting corruption, and educating citizens.
The 1986 Freedom Constitution, enacted by the President Corazon Aquino after the People Power Revolution, served as a pivotal transitional charter that restored democratic governance and civil liberties in the Philippines, such as freedom of speech, press, and assembly. Although it concentrated power in the president's hands, raising concerns about authoritarianism and legitimacy due to the lack of a ratifying plebiscite. It had a largely positive impact by empowering citizens, rebuilding democratic institutions, and laying the groundwork for the 1987 Constitution. Despite its temporary nature and limitations, it provided a crucial legal and moral foundation for stabilizing the country during a volatile period. To improve future transitional constitution, incorporating checks and balances, public participation, transparency, and a clear roadmap for democratic transition would be crucial, along with public ratification and in turn oversight bodies to ensure accountability, civic engagement, and a smooth transition to permanent democratic institutions. So, this is the continuation of my topic. The 1987 Philippine Constitution declares the country as a democratic and republican state where sovereignty resides in the people and all government authority emanates from them. This means that the power of governance is rooted in the collective will of the citizens, emphasizing transparency, accountability, and also participation. However, a key issue is the gap between this principle and its actual practice. Persistent problems like katong corruption, political dynasties, and voter disenfranchisement undermine through democratic representation. As a result, many citizens feel powerless and disconnected from the political process, weakening trust in institutions. To address this, there must be stronger enforcement of anti-corruption laws, political reforms to limit dynasties, and comprehensive civic education to empower, inform, and active citizen participation.
Overall, the evolution of the Philippine Constitution reflects the country's progress from colonial rule to full independence and democracy. Each version responded to the nation's changing needs, marking the Filipinos' ongoing pursuit of sovereignty, justice, and freedom. That's it for our report. Thank you for listening.